Hello, it's finally Friday. Let's go through the market and see what's going on. So looking at yesterday, we had a risk-off day. It looked like TLT was no response, bailed bond failed to rally despite rising volatility. And if we look at the themes, it looks like banks are putting back their gains, semis are down. What else we got? If you look at XLE, which we've been watching for a few weeks, that gave back some of its, it closed green, but it kind of gave back some of its gains, retesting the previous July 21st. That's when our sell signal triggered. It's still technically a buy, it's still strong, but our swing trade is out, but we're still in it in a core portfolio entry. If you go back, it's interesting to look at the sector rotation from yesterday. XLI had seen the highest volume across the board, and we are going to start watching that to see how that closes today. And if that continues up, we may start scaling in. So I'm going to start watching XLI. And let's go through some, been playing around with the Lynch charts. Always fun to look at. When does price go below EPS? That's when Lynch would buy. And Intel's big this morning. So Intel's up 327% in the last 12 months, but it's actually an opposite of a Lynch chart. So price is way below. It's not even on the chart. It's detached from earnings completely. So at this point, you're betting on either the Trump trade or something that you don't know about, I guess, but or something that I don't know about. But it's pretty interesting. And then this morning we had Google's all over the place on news. From the high of May 18th to yesterday's close, we're down close to 22%, so 21% down. And we're looking at the Q2 earnings. It looks like the 99 billion in profit was actually paper gains from equity stakes and not the business itself. So if you strip that out, the core PE is 28x versus the 23.5 historical median. So it's an interesting, position there. Back in 2025, it was briefly below. So we were getting down closer there. If you look at the chart, we are sitting at the 200 day. So I know a lot of retail is going to be looking at that. So this is an interesting scenario here. I don't know if the profit is actually pure profit, like I said. So something to watch for. And then just kind of the macro for the morning. It looks like oil topped 100. Iran killed the ceasefire. The only green sector on the red day was energy, right? And yesterday's sell-off was Tesla and not the war. So XLE still doesn't really care. If you look at the currency pairs, Australian dollar, US dollar is the cleanest risk on play today. So we're just kind of consolidating around the 200-day bullish momentum. So we'll be watching that. And the British pound is just further selling off. We probably should have held our short longer, but temporary weather and football shirt sales are masking the stagnant underlying trend. And then USD GPY, it's looking heavy. We're kind of seeing some pullback there, and the volume is kind of sporadic. So we're going to continue to watch this to see if there's anything possible. And then the euro is catching some bids in the 4-hour as the French and German PMIs showing some resilience there. So we're watching the 114 level as ECB points to a higher probability of rate hikes. And then also just want to call out that we have released the backtesting strategy live stream with Shardul, our intern at the family office. This is a very fun and informational live stream where we walk through taking an idea, putting it through Claude that will sit on top of the backtester, and you can kind of run through your ideas in real time with Claude. So he can work with you on making it better. You can run questions through them. You can set up an autonomous, 8 hour, 10 hour, 2 week process. So we kind of walk through that in that live stream there. So something to check out. If you check our positions, we're definitely light, which is pretty interesting as we just kind of sit things out a bit. But our travelers filled a couple days ago, and we're seeing some continued flight on moderate volume. So it's just really just kind of entering there, trying to get out of that range. We have a pretty wide stop in place. So have a wide stop loss, and then now we're negative on Microsoft. So I think we're basically in a consolidation range here. We're seeing pullback, but it's on high volume. So that's not the greatest sign there. And CSX exploded yesterday. Crazy explosion bar there. That's insane. So we're going to move this up to that previous low there, 50.75. Okay, let's make a note of that, and then let's go over and look at what the runs look like this morning. I'm waiting for my, okay, so CSX, we just keep moving the stop. Okay, let's check this out. Yeah, looks like a defensive day. We got a bunch of sells on our bull flag, and then let's see, leadership is a lot of healthcare, and CSX is showing up as the leadership buy signal. So that further strengthens our position there. BNO. Interesting. Okay, some sort of realty. How do I get this thing off here? There it is. Okay, what is this thing? That's interesting. Back when I was down supply demand. And then BXP. So finance catching some bids yesterday, but we did see the overall sector down. XLE still showing a buy on the momentum sector there. Cross, TBC showing up again, and Q is getting a fade. Commodity index. And ATR is getting the Amazon. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to affect our Microsoft position, but we'll find out. So if we look at yesterday, we were all risk off and then pre-markets mix. So it's a Friday. Looks like gold's flipping over. XLD's flipping over. Pre-market. Then yeah, XLP's flipping positive. XLU is continuing, but on thin volume. And then XLF is flipping over. Let's see what XLU looks like. Just consolidating. Okay. So we don't have much. We were looking at the European financials that pulled back. So Our buy order did not get filled on that. Let's go through some of these charts. Walmart is further pushing down along with Costco. TRV is up on pre-market. That's a good sign. EPOL, so the Poland ETF, is pushing back down to that range. Yeah, okay. Not a lot going on. So it looks like this morning's going to be relatively calm. I'm going to start playing around with a strategy on EPS, the Lynch chart, and seeing if any tickers show up on that. So I'm going to post that on X shortly today. That sounds like a fun project. Yeah, so that's about it. Nothing on the radar for the next couple of days. Looking like a calm day, short stream. Have a good weekend.